Welcome to Shom Machshov on the Daf. Shir Sponsor Luinish Masam Biakushalom Le'Abbas Yitzchok. We're holding Bava Basra Daf Kuf Lamed Aleph. The Gemara, starting in the end of the previous Daf and going into this Daf, says that Ein Dayan Ela Masha'ein of Rois. If a Talmid hears that his Rebbe gave a psak halacha and he doesn't understand it, so he cannot pasken that way, even though he respects his Rebbe very much. Because Ein Dayan Ela Masha'ein of Rois. The Dayan has only what he sees in his eyes. He don't go based on the fact that he believes that his Rebbe is right, that he trusts his Rebbe. He needs to see what he sees in his eyes and follow that. Reb Chaim Volozhiner, in his Sefer Maseches Ovis, Ruach Chaim, on Perikal Mishnah Dalet, on the Mishnah that says Yeh Beischo Beisvad Lechachomim, explains Reb Chaim what's pshat. The way the Torah is being nikne, one of the memches kinyonim that Torah nikno, is hamachkim es Rabboisov. What does that mean? A Talmud needs to go and question and debate his Rebbes. He cannot be embarrassed. He must come and question what he hears, not just accept it as a given. And that's why he says Torah is called a milchama, milcham shel Torah, the war of Torah. And the Talmidim are called warriors. And the Gemara brings, it says in the Pasuk, Ki dabrus oivim bashar. What's oivim bashar? A father and a son, a Rebbe and a Talmud. They start learning, they become enemies. They start fighting each other. And then they love each other. So he says, the Mishnah says, Yeh beischo beisvad chachomim. It's a place without chachomim. Ve'ev misavek be'ofer agleim. What's misavek? It says misavek is loshon v'yo'ovek ish imoy. In other words, fight. Misavik means fight in Torah. And that's the whole way of Torah. The whole way of Torah is a person needs to understand his understanding in Torah. And if he doesn't understand, he has to fight for it. And even though it's his Rebbe and Chosher person, should not be noise ponim leish, just run after the emes. The Reb Chaim Volozhiner also has a tshuva sefer called Chuta Mesholosh. And there in the end of Siman Tes, he refers to a union that he's talking about there. And he writes the tshuva to a Rav, that Rav said, even though I maybe don't have a good rayo, I want to be soymech on moiri v'rabi hakoyin hagodol Hashem yarich yomav. So Chaim Volozhiner finished the tshuva and says like this, he's coming to argue on this psak. And he says, you should know that I'm mechabed this Rav so much, and I was mishamish him, and I'm very, very careful in his covet. But we have the Gemara in Yesh Noichlin, our Gemara, that we say, Ein l'dayan ela masha'ein of Rois. So therefore, says Chaim Volozhiner, I can't follow the psak of this Rav because I have a lot of pirchas to what he says. And he says like this, who's harti bezem pi moiri kadosh Yisrael Rabbeinu hagoyin hagodol hachosid Morino Rav Eliyahu mivilna. He's talking about the Gra. That the Gra told him, give a special hazara, shaloi lisa ponim b'hoira. So he says, I cannot refrain myself from arguing with this, even though I'm mechabed him so much. I can't do it. And he concludes the tshuva with that Nova of Chaim Volozhiner says, I don't want to be pasken on my own, but to go and follow that psak I can't do. This is, as it says there in Ruach Chaim, that's how Torah works. And just to add to all this, that the concept of Ein L'dayan Ela Masha'ein of Rois is brought down already in Chazal and Sefer HaZohar. And there it speaks about the fact that there is malachim in Shemayim, they're called the Einayim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And they go around the world and see what happens, and they bring the din of mishpat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Ramchal in Adir B'Moram, page Kuf Samech Zayin, goes on to say that there's every time a person does something in the world, either he does something bad or he thinks something bad, there's different ways that the shluchim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu perceive it. Some is considered to be inayim, some have to be considered to be only oznaim. Meaning some halachim have they have the value of eyes, and some have the value of ears. The Dayan has to follow the eyes. Sometimes an aveira is not as great that the eyes see it, but only the ears hear it. So that means that aveira is not so great. Because the same way down here in the world, we say Ein L'dayan Ela Masha'ein of Rois, the Dayan has to follow his eyes. So also Klapi Mala, HaKadosh Baruch Hu uses only the malachim of Einayim to do a full din. Because always the Dayan follows his eyes, and these are things that the oimkim, they have to do with Beis Shamala, but relate to our sugya. Anyone who wants to join the Shom Machshava email list to WhatsApp group, please email shommachshava@gmail.com.